Hey, it's Eric with ewjtri talking about 4 things you're probably doing at work that are negatively affecting your physical exercise and training. As an athlete, you spend 5 upwards to 20 plus hours a week training for that goal race, making sure you're as fast and as fit as possible, but you spend 40 plus hours a week likely at your day job. And so when it comes to what else can I do to improve my performance and make sure that I'm performing optimally, it may not be in the training aspect. It actually may be a few things that you can do at work that potentially are causing injury or making you slower than you should be. Number one thing to reduce at work is day job stress. Even though mental stress, we think of as a cognitive brain thing, it can give you a headache. At the same time, it can also cause physical symptoms like muscle tension and can really delay your physical recovery. That day job stress can also cause lack of focus, even when you get to the workout afterwards. A couple quick examples are if you're working on swim form, you don't feel like your swim form's getting any faster, but rather than focusing on the catch and the pull, you're worried about the report you've got to turn in, or the relationship you had that was tensive at work, or just all the stuff you've got to accomplish. So your swim doesn't really get better as far as your form. The other perspective is actually injury. I'm definitely guilty of thinking about work on a trail run, and next thing I know, I hit a rock and I'm on the ground. So that lack of focus can really cause problems when it comes to training. And finally, day job stress also can decrease motivation. And here you are wanting to be excited about working out, but you're so stressed from work that you just don't even feel like working out. So you think, well, maybe I'm overtraining for the race. Well, maybe you are, but maybe you're not. Take a look at how much of that work stress you have. And if you reduce that, would you actually be more motivated and feel like training? Number 2 is sitting all day. Don't do it. Way too many of us do. It can lead to changes in your posture that could affect your position on the bike or your running form, neck issues, back pain, chronic weakness and tightness in your hip flexors, glutes, the core in general. I'm sure you referred to sitting all day as the new cancer. Yet at the same time, most people have a tough time getting up every 30 minutes if they sit all day and doing dynamic movements. Taking a walk up the stairs and back, using an activation band to get those activation glute muscles working and other muscles working. I'll put a link for a band I use when I'm at work. But those are the types of things to help reverse it. But every 30 to 60 minutes to get up, stand at a work meeting rather than sit. There's little things that you can do, but as the hours go by, it can really cause problems over hours, days, weeks, years of sitting. Then we go to the doctor with an injury of, hip flexor problems, and maybe we're told stop running or work out less, when really it's, could be the prolonged sitting or things we're not doing when we're at work. And the bad news is for those of you who sit all day long, and then if you work out for an hour afterwards, research is showing that that's really not enough to negate the effects of what you did all day in terms of sitting. And so even being active in training, while great, isn't enough. You've got to break up that day of sitting. Number 3 thing to think about at work is your work shoes. Mostly it's dress shoes with the pointy toe, for example, can cause bunions, hammered toe, ingrown toenails. If you have a high heel, and men too, even 5 millimeters in one of the studies I saw can start to cause problems over time in terms of shortened Achilles and calf issues. And then having that heel raised all day can put extra pressure on the toe. Over time could lead to hairline or stress fractures. So if you do wear those, it can be things like maybe doing some extra stretching of the calf, or dynamic movements of the calf, foam rolling. But again, it doesn't totally negate the effects of wearing the pointy shoe and the high heel. That combination really can be detrimental for both men and women. You spend so much time finding that perfect shoe to train in, and you should. That's definitely really important. At the same time, you're actually spending a lot more time overall in the shoe you wear to work. So spending just as much time thinking about what that shoe is can really affect your athletic performance. And finally, number 4 to avoid at work is repetitive movements. And sometimes your job will just consist of that. And the most common one is just being at the keyboard all day. But it could be if you're doing a lot of things overhead, or if you're painting or driving all day, or just, again, anything that's repetitive where you're doing that same movement over time can lead to issues depending on what that is. And one most common example is like carpal tunnel syndrome. And so if you have weakness or pain or numbness in your wrist, your hands, maybe that doesn't affect you daily as far as your training, but when you fatigue in a race, or you're an hour or two into the bike leg and you start to lose grip strength in your hands, are you more likely to go slower? You're more likely to get injured. So, and then over time, it can create muscle imbalances depending on what the repetitive movements are. So just take a look at what you're doing at work all day, and are there repetitive movements? If not, great, one less thing to worry about. But if there are, how can you, counteract those movements either at home or in another way, so it doesn't cause injury over time. So those are the 4 things at your day job that are probably making your triathlon time slower. And so when you're thinking about how to get faster, think about being a triathlete, 24 hours a day, and what are you doing from wake-up time to going to bed, even beyond training that could be affecting your performance, and workday can especially be an important one to examine. So hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos and you don't make the same mistakes that I've made along the way. And until next week, I will see you on the trails.